Hi, welcome back. In the last tutorial clip, we saw how we can use file get contents and JSON decode PHP built-in functions to get data sent from reactjs. Of course, we use file get content because if we send data from our reactjs and using PHP $ post global variable directly in our backend, that is our PHP, then the request will fail. So in this clip, I'm going to show you how to work with your PHP $post global variable without using file get content. And to work with $post global variable, we are going to make use of web API called FormData. So the first thing we want to do now, we want to look at what the documentation has to say with form data. So I'm in MDN Web Docs now. So as you can see from the documentation, it says the form data object lets you compile a set of key value pairs to send using XML HTTP requests. It is primarily intended for use in sending form data, but can be used independently from forms in order to transmit keyed data. So what they are trying to tell us now is that the purpose for creating this form data is to send form data. That is, we can use it with any of our JavaScript library, and one of them which is React. So to start with, I'm going back to Replit. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to declare a variable called form data. So I will say dollar, no, sorry, let me say const form data equal new, then we have form data. So the data now becomes an instance of the object called form data. Sorry, this should be in capital letter. So the next thing we need to do now, we have a form data, and then to append, say append. Append is one of methods in the form data object. So we have a append, then the first state variable here we have a email. So we have string, then followed by our state variable email. And the next thing now, let me just copy them. We have a username. Let me just copy this username. Then first name, we have a first name, then last name in a string. This is what will be passed to the server, and this is the value, last name, and then we have a password, password, and then password. So we have our data now appended to the form data object when we try to interact with our form. So as we enter any input, then the form data will append the state variable here to what we now pass to our backend. So the next thing now is for us to work with our argos. So just like what we did in our last tutorial, we just say await argos dot post. So of course it's going to be a post request, and oh sorry, URL, our URL here, and then we have a the form data instance, the form data, then the last parameter there, which is an object. Then we have headers, then we have editors, then add a string, have a content type, column, application, have a application slash JSON, let's just have this as small letter, application slash JSON. Then here we have then parentheses, we have a response, then which takes an input function. Then we can now say set post, have a response dot, then the catch block, have function, have error, there's error, places, plug it into our browser console. Okay, error. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we need to do to achieve that. Let me try to format the code. Let me see if we have if there's a way we can format our code here. Let me see. Okay, let's do it manually. Let me sorry, this one here. All right, I think it looks a little bit nicer now. So let's run the code to find out if our form data will work the way we expect it to work. So let me copy this. Let me have another tab. All right. Okay, let me change this to insertion react PHP file in our. So let me comment out this and this, since we don't need to work with, since we are not working with file get contents and JSON the code now. So we want to make use of our PHP dollar underscore post global variable here, just the way normal we will use it with jQuery Ajax. So exactly the same thing we are trying to do or achieve here. So I've successfully saved it and I've commented out the 2 lines of code there. So let me go back to, it seems a challenge here. And what can that be? We have okay, yeah, I think this should be in capital letter. All right, so I think our form now is up and running. Yeah, So let's go back to the interface where we want to test our code if it's actually working the way we expect it to be. So everything is connecting properly now. So okay, I think before we do anything, let me just console log everything here. Let me have a response dot data here, and then let me go back to the interface where I want to run the. So the first thing I want to do here, let me click on register. As you can see here now, we have a status error message. Please enter email. So this is coming from our backend here. So when we click on the register button, it finds out that this part, our email is empty, nothing is being fed by the user. So the status is equal to error, and then our array here will be updated with the status error and the message please enter email. So that's what we've successfully uh, done here. So if I should properly fill our form here, let me say Caesar, Caesar, for instance, and I click here. The next message, so it goes to our please enter username, because here is not filled. Let me fill okay, and for instance as username. Then if I should, you can see it says account successfully created. Despite the fact that we didn't fill any part here, it's because in our backend, if you look at our backend closely, we can see that no validation for our password here. Let me go back to our interface. So you can see a success because the everything there was no error. So the status is now updated. Our array here will be updated to status. It's called to success, and then the message we have here, account successfully created, will be the array will now be updated with the status and message their value, which is success and account successfully created. If I should fill the form properly now, let's have a this is let's say Yahoo again, Jack and Jan too, and then a random password. And let me just have this here, and I click it again. You can see status, success, message. Let me try to increase that. You can see account successfully created. So everything is working perfectly fine. So let me reduce the. So if I should remove this, the username for instance, I don't expect, so there should be an error. Please enter username, and if we should go to our database for instance, PHP, I think for instance, all right, if I should click on the database, so as you can see here now, you can see the two data we just enter now, Jagajan and Jagajan 2. Then you can see everything being inserted successfully into our database. So being able to make use of form data and the dollar underscore post variable directly to work with our front end, that is our React project. So we use form data here and pass the data to dollar underscore post variable. Of course, as you can see here, the file get content. We commented it out with our JSON decode, and then we are making use of our normal PHP global variable dollar underscore post, just the way we use it in jQuery. So that's how to go about it. So there's no much code to write. I think this one is very simple to work with. So in the next video tutorial, we are going to see how we can use a PHP core to also send that download. That one is a little bit, a little bit complex and not that complex, but because of the code, the amount of code we need to write. But just to show you the alternative we have, so how we can actually send your data from your front end that is using React and pass your data to PHP web server and then now use it to send your data into the database. So that's all about it. Thank you for watching and for your time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel as you watch the video. Please don't forget that. Thanks very much once again for watching. See you in the next video tutorial.